Before we start the main bit of this video, I'd like to do a little bit of a brief intro that I'm just sticking in for the start of the video now. Because this weekend, and the day hopefully this is uploaded, is the Beano's 85th anniversary, I thought it was appropriate I say happy birthday, Beano. I have purchased the official 85th anniversary issue. As you can see, I got it from Tesco. Nice little issue, a load of celebrities on the back and the front, alongside Dennis and the regulars, picked by readers of the comic. There's obviously a Beano All-Stars, all the characters get together in a big comic strip at the start, and all the usual madness you can get from a usual Beano. Plus there's a little mini comic called Be Now, which is a little collection of bits and pieces created by the children who read the comics, which is really nice, so they get some contributions to that. So I thought it was worth just mentioning that at the start of this video before I jump into the main part where I talk about Emanata Studios and getting some live action DC Thomson stuff. So all I can say is happy 85th anniversary to the Beano, and enjoy the video. Hello everyone, and welcome to a brand new video. Yes, it's me on my own. I'm not doing anything with my brother or anyone else. It's a topic video at last. And I'm finally doing another video covering Beano and Dandy content because you guys seem to like it. And I found the perfect excuse to do so. How do I start this? Well, the title of the video has probably already given it away. It is Beano and Dandy characters are getting live action adaptations. Yes, you hear me right. This has slipped me by completely, as it was announced in late 2021 that Beano Studios, alongside DC Thomson Media, who kind of cover the entire media landscape of DC Thomson content, are working to create a new studio. The studio on the side here, you'll be able to see, Emanata Studios, who are doing adaptations of pretty much DC Thomson's back catalogue, which is really interesting to see. Now, this slipped me by. I had no idea that this was happening, but more recently we just had the first of those come out, and it's tied to a Beano character. Now, before I dive into that, let's talk about the projects they're going to do. So the first one, of course, is an adaptation of Calamity James, the world's unluckiest boy. This has just been released on BBC iPlayer as part of the BBC Comedy Shorts. It's a nice little short, it's about 15 minutes, and sees a young 20-ish-year-old Calamity James reconnect with his dad, and it kind of adapts it into a slightly more adult sort of thing, but we'll come to that in a minute. But yes, that was kind of the first one, and that was announced in the last couple of weeks, and it took me off guard. And I went, what do you mean there's adaptations of these? And I found that this is kind of the beginning of something quite exciting. So Emanata Studios was created, again, like I said, by Beano Studios and by the DC Thomson Media kind of arm, and they're going to just do an array of adaptations for various different projects, working with loads of other people. So I thought I'd have a quick look. So on their website, as you'll see here, they've got a projects tab, which shows what the sort of projects they're going to do. Now, they're covering stuff from all of DC Thomson's back catalogue, so this includes like the Hotspur, the Bunty, the Mandy, the Victor, as well as content from the Beano, the Dandy, and others. Now, I thought I'd quickly focus on what sort of stuff going to come out under the brand the Beano and Dandy, because those are the brands I really like and are excited about. We also have a variety of other products under the three other titles. So that fell under the sort of drama and comedy title. There is also animation and there is also film. Now, under drama and comedy, we're also getting adaptations of the Numbskulls, the little guys that live in the head of a young boy called Ed and control his actions, and apparently all Beano characters have these, but the story sort of focuses on him. Of course, being sort of the main sort of poster child of the comic, Dennis the Menace is going to get an adaptation as well, live action in the drama and comedy section as well. As well as that, we'll also get Babyface, which is an adaptation of Babyface Finlayson, the cutest bandit in the West. A character that's kind of not appeared for a long while, only appeared in the 80s, I think. So yeah, so those all fall under the comedy and drama, as will the following Dandy characters. Now they've picked two really bizarre Dandy characters, so there's no Desperate Dans, there's no Corky the Cats, there's none of that sort of stuff. But the two that they've chosen is a character called Secret Agent Sally. I had to do some research on this. She's a secret agent, basically. It's drawn in the art style of characters like Ollie Fliptrick, done by the same artist who does him. And I remember this kind of was in the early to mid 2000s when the Dandy did the whole "Can you handle it" thing, and she's come from that sort of era, so that's interesting. But then I think that will translate quite nicely onto screen. And the other one chosen was a character called Blitz Boy. Is also under drama and comedy, and this was about a young boy who gets buried during the Blitz, and he wakes up and sort of has to adapt to life after throughout the time. It was one of the more picture comics done from the time during the 1940s, I think, not the 50s, slightly earlier times of the Dandy. But those are the two that they've chosen under the Dandy remit. Under animation, we've got getting a new animated adaptation of Banana Man, the superhero that originally started in the Dandy but now lives and resides in the Beano. And under film, there are no titles particularly under Beano and Dandy characters as of yet, but these are just the ones that are from the two comics that I follow. There's a whole host. If you go onto Emanata Studios website, you'll find all of their upcoming projects, which are quite exciting. So I might check those ones out. But what I'll be doing on this channel, I will be reviewing all of the Beano and Dandy IPs that come out through projects that they do, because that's going to be quite interesting. So I get to do some film reviews and some stuff, but it's tied to my Beano stuff, which is quite exciting. So yes, that's kind of the long and short of it. So exciting times indeed, and I can't wait to see what they produce. Talking about what they produced, let's talk about the first of these releases, which has just dropped on iPlayer, and this is Calamity James. So this is an adaptation of the world's unluckiest boy, a character I did not expect to be the first to kind of come and get an adaptation, but it comes across as something that would get, I think it's a lot very adaptable into a live action sort of thing. What they've done with it is they've very much adulted up. It's set for young audiences, young adults, as well as sort of people in the 20s and 30s. So it's a little bit more adult. So there's stuff like smoking. There is sort of some loose swearing in it. There is all sorts of little bits and pieces that have sort of slightly more adult tones to them, but they're not over the top. And the characters are still very recognisable. James is still the unluckiest boy in the world. He's no longer a child, but he's a young 20-something living through life, and he's just cursed with complete bad luck. It's lovely. It stars Dylan Bloor as Calamity James and Mark Bernard as his father, and it's a story about James reconnecting with his father and trying to get over his bad luck and trying to sort of bond. They end up getting caught up in some sticky escapades as James's bad luck catches them out, which is quite nice. So I think it's lovely. It's short. It's only about 15 minutes. It's not a massive dramatisation, but it's lovely. It's lovely put together, and there's a real kind of heart to it, I think. And I really enjoyed this adaptation. I think it was very truthful to the comic as well. So I think it's quite good. So if you get a chance, if you live in the UK, it's available on BBC iPlayer as part of the BBC Comedy Shorts. There's an array of other ones, including a film directed by Ricky Gervais. There's loads of other bits and pieces, but it was produced. This is the first sort of particular Beano and Dandy production, which is quite exciting. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to everything else that comes out. I'll be curious to see how some of these are adapted. So the likes of Secret Agent Sally and Blitz Boy, I can see why they were chosen. They do become quite adaptable. Banana Man getting a new animated series, he got one in the 80s originally, so that's quite good. And we also, to get live action versions of something like Dennis the Menace is going to be very interesting. The same with the Numbskulls. It's very much kind of like the Numbskulls inspired the film Inside Out, so I could see, it might be curious to see how they do a drama or a comedy about something like that. And Babyface Finlayson probably does sort of relate to, you do some Wild West kind of stuffs. I could see it might be a bit. I'm curious to see what they do with it. Let's put it this way. So that's what we know. There might be some more announced in the future, but there's a whole host of other stuff. So we're talking probably about 15-20 projects that are coming out over. There's no sort of particular structure, but these are the ones that are kind of in the pipeline. So we'll see what they produce. And if you're a fan of DC Thomson, you're a fan of all this sort of stuff, do kind of check it out. Check out Calamity James. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm curious and I'm excited because it gives me stuff to talk about. I look forward to this sort of stuff. So yeah, I will stop rambling now. But thank you very much for watching. There is more Beano content. I'm just about to record another one, which has been long overdue. So more content on its way. I've recorded a load of other stuff with Josh and with Jordan. There's stuff that's been in the pipeline for a while. So there's a lot of content comes from this channel. It's just getting the time to put these together. So that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.